Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. We are back here for part 2 of building the zombie pigman gold and XP farm, and as you can see, I've completed the roof and I've completed the floor. I did both of those off camera mainly because I think you guys get the idea. All this is a solid glass floor coming from the bottom of this bottommost platform all the way out to the center here where I've left a 7x7 gap with the corners, and we're probably going to modify this little setup a little bit because right now it is pretty rudimentary. And as before, we have continued the glass around the outside, and people did let me know that you didn't have to use all of this glass as long as you have glass every 3 blocks or so. That's going to block gusts from spawning because they need a 4x4x5 area, I believe, to spawn in. But I just like the design already. I wanted to keep it, and I needed a ton of glass anyway, so I figured might as well go the whole hog. I smelted up a bunch of glass off camera, and we got this whole thing ready to go. Now, I'm going to very briefly prove to you quite how powerful this farm is, because there are a few people who think this farm is broken in Minecraft 1.14. Let me tell you, if there is an aspect of this farm that is broken, it is the ability to AFK at it. But as far as getting experience and gold and stuff like that, as long as you don't mind babysitting the farm, there really is no big deal with with making this farm really quite special. Now, we're going to set up a bunch of trapdoors here, and we're going to have the pigmen walk towards this area, and I'm pretty sure they should just walk straight off of that. But I need to make sure that I am going to be safe in here once I start aggroing them. So I'm just going to build up a few trapdoors around the outside here. And let's just do this last one that way. Because, yeah, the last thing I want right now is the pigmen just wandering straight over to here and attacking me. Because that would not go particularly well. But all I'm going to do is shoot one of these pigmen with my bow and watch the result. Because they're all going to start getting mad at me and running towards me. And then they all start to run off the platform. As long as these guys don't reach me, which they are not, yeah, that's going to get rid of our entire mob cap of zombie pigmen very quickly, and because they all end up falling off the platform and dying, the rest of these guys are not angry at me. We're going to fix that in today's episode because there are a few additional measures that we have to take into account if we want this farm to run around the clock, as it were, and we want all of the new pigmen who spawn in to stay angry at me. But if I drop down here to the base of the farm, now don't worry, I've got my elytra on, so we're just going to glide to a halt. You will see that there is a whole lot of XP and a zombie waiting for me. Now, that is something else that we are going to have to figure out about this farm, because zombie pigmen have the chance to spawn zombie reinforcements, and that's how you sometimes get regular zombies spawning in the nether. The main way of defending against that in this farm is to meticulously light everything up with torches, so that's what we're going to be doing in a lot of this episode. But look at the amount of drops we have here, because all of these pigmen died when they were angry at me. Technically, their deaths still count as a player kill, so they will drop experience and they will drop player kill only loot like gold ingots. I've already got a ton of golden swords that we can also smelt down into gold nuggets, and enough gold nuggets just from that batch of pigmen alone to make a few more gold ingots. So we already have a pretty sizable chunk of gold just from that one load of zombie pigmen, and if you can imagine them getting angry at you over and over again, that is how this farm operates, and that is why it's one of the most important farms that players build in late game Minecraft. Okay, so it's time to reconfigure this central area slightly. What we want to have is one spot for the player to stand here on a trapdoor, and one block out from the trapdoor in each direction we need to have a slab at around foot height for the player, so around here. And that's going to have a set of trapdoors placed against it like so. So we're going to come up here like this, and we're going to have a wall of trapdoors, basically, that the pigmen are not going to be able to get past. You can always jump up onto the trapdoors like that if you need to. And we're going to take out this bottom trapdoor here, because right here we're going to have a set of minecarts crushing the pigmen in much the same way as they were crushed previously by entity cramming in our old zombie pigman farm. The difference here being, of course, that they're going to be crushed in these spots whilst they are aggressive towards the player, which means they're going to drop player kill items, unlike the ones in the turtle egg powered farm, which only dropped rotten flesh and gold nuggets. These ones are going to be able to drop swords and gold ingots, just like they would if a player killed them normally. Naturally, that means we're going to need hoppers underneath the area where each of the pigmen are going to be dying to collect the drops. So we're actually going to place hoppers underneath this floor of glass for now, and what we'll do is force a hopper minecart into the block above the hopper, dragging the drops through as fast as possible, because this thing is going to need to collect drops quite quickly. In fact, let's actually do that now. So let's grab a few minecarts out of here. We'll need 4 of these total, so that's going to sacrifice 4 of our hoppers, like so, and we will need a whole bunch more minecarts in order to crush the pigmen. So what I'm thinking of doing is just going and grabbing the minecarts that we use in our original zombie pigman farm, and that should do for the ones that we're going to put in this space down here. We are also going to need to make sure that this section here is blocked off, because we're going to have some rails here, and we don't want all of the minecarts falling out into the void and going in all different directions, so probably best if we block that off now. And after having removed the rails by scaffolding around there and taking them out one by one, all we need to do is push a glass block, or any kind of block really, down over the minecart with a hopper, making sure it comes to rest inside of there. And then anything we get chucked onto there after that will get collected up by the hopper minecart and put inside the hopper, which should lead to the chest or whatever storage system we decide to build down here. Now comes the expensive part of building this farm, because we're going to have to place 24 minecarts on each of the rails down here, and we're also going to be putting anvils up the sides of each one. Now, Ilmango mentions this in his video as being kind of an optional feature, but the anvils do allow 2 pigmen to jump into the hole at once, because the anvil's block model is slightly narrower than a single block. So that means that 2 pigmen coming from opposite angles will both be able to jump into the hole, but they'll still both get entity crammed by the minecart. So that's why I brought myself a ton of iron blocks and enough stuff to make a crafting table and so forth, so that we can actually give this a go. I think it's safe to say that an iron farm is probably a prerequisite of building this farm design in particular. There may be other farm designs you might want to invest in before you give this one a try if iron farming is not your thing. But for now, we can build up each of these. This is going to require, wow, yeah, a lot of anvils, I think. And realistically, each of these columns of anvils doesn't have to be that high, but yeah, this is a flex. This is definitely a flex. Now we need to consider our sight lines towards the pigmen who are going to be stationed on each of the corners and staying mad at us. And while we're standing on this trapdoor, we need line of sight to an area over here, which means that around the top here, we're actually going to be placing a wall of glass to prevent the pigmen from just walking through this corner. So we're going to leave a 1-block gap here, and we're actually going to be filling in this corner with, believe it or not, snow layers. This was a fix that Ilmango came up with for the farm a while ago, where baby zombie pigmen would end up getting caught on slabs or any other kind of half block if you place them here, and snow layers arranged in a certain formation, I think you need 5 snow layers in each position, would cause the pigmen to still see you, but not to think they could pathfind to you through that half-block space, meaning that they would go around and get caught in the minecarts just like all of the adult pigmen. Is adult pigmen the right term? It feels really weird, but I guess the others are baby pigmen, so yeah, adult pigmen it is. Once again, we're building this out of a right angle of glass to encourage the pigmen to pathfind around to this spot, but also because glass is not going to be spawnable for anything around here, and we're also going to make sure that we can light it up just in case reinforcement zombies or endermen decide to spawn around here for no good reason. Around each of the sides where the pigmen are going to be walking into hopper minecarts, we're going to place this arrangement of stairs with a corner stair on each side and a regular stair in the middle, and that's going to give them something to walk up and over into the area with the hopper minecarts, and that's also going to stop them all from colliding with each other and getting like stuck at the entrance to the drop into the hopper minecarts, because occasionally a pigman's hitbox will prevent them from getting in there. But that's absolutely fine once we put the stairs in place. That should hopefully be a problem we can avoid. Another fix Ilmango mentioned for the baby zombie problem is to replace this area around here with magma blocks, because baby zombie pigmen don't like to walk over them. However, it is possible for them to get up onto the stairs and be pushed over onto the magma blocks, at which point they will still get stuck and eventually slow down the spawning rates for the farm, because the baby zombies don't like to pathfind onto magma blocks, but they also don't really care about them once they're on them, and they don't take damage from magma blocks either, because as nether mobs they are immune to fire damage. But this section of the farm is nearly done. All we need to do is go and get the minecarts from the old zombie pigman farm so that we can fill that area up and start the entity cramming, and get the snow layers around the outside so the baby zombie pigman problem will be taken care of. So I'm going to hop through here and let's get on with that. Well, in the end, I didn't even bother getting all of the old minecarts from the old farm, because I figured if I don't have an iron farm for this, what do I have it for in the first place? So I ended up crafting a whole bunch of new minecarts. We have our snow layers in place, and I think it's time to give this farm a quick test. So I'm going to very quickly shoot that pigman over there if he actually gets shot. There we go. And now all of the pigmen should rush towards the farm, and hopefully I'm safe in here and have done nothing wrong. Yep, looks like they're all going to walk up in there, and wow, the noise of that is pretty intense because the minecarts are still on the rails, but it looks like the pigmen are dying just fine. Well, that was pretty successful, but it turns out, for a start, that a lot of these minecarts are super noisy, and also that I think their hitbox has pushed that minecart there and that minecart there off of the hoppers that they were sat on. And so we're probably going to have to reset some aspects of this, but that was a good first test run, and I expect we've even got some drops that are hanging out on the surface here. Nice. We've got our gold nuggets, our rotten flesh. Looks like this farm is going to work pretty well once we've worked out the kinks here. That's more like it, yeah. Everything seems to be working a little bit better now we've replaced the minecarts. And now what remains is to sort out the problem of the new pigmen not being aggressive towards us when they spawn back in. Although these minecarts over here do still seem to be colliding with each other weirdly, so I'm not entirely certain how to sort that out, but hopefully that should not affect the viability of the farm. And I've certainly been able to fish a few items out of this hopper down here, so maybe that's just something that we'll have to deal with for the time being. I mean, the obvious thing to me would be to replace these bottom anvils with blocks, but I have a feeling that pigmen might land on those as they get pushed down into this gap by the anvils, and then they wouldn't end up in the minecarts to begin with. So not entirely sure what the solution is to that one, but no worries. We've got a few extra levels now as well. But part of the next step actually involves using a couple of these anvils, and we're going to get 12 name tags here. We're probably not going to need 12 in the grand scheme of things, but I figure we may as well do this the old-fashioned way, and we're going to name a few of these so that we can name tag pigmen to stand outside the radius of the farm and keep the aggro chain going. Zombie pigman aggro actually carries about 40 blocks away, so what we want to do is put a pigman over here, name tag it, and then isolate it from the rest of this spawning platform. So this is probably going to be a case of either using a boat to get it over here or just kind of nudging it, or making sure that a pigman spawns nearby and can maybe pathfind over here if we're lucky. There we go, that's one guy onto a block. We'll isolate him from the rest of the farm, and now, thanks to mob's incredible desire for self-preservation, this guy should not wander off the edge of the farm. If he does end up doing that, we might need to place him another block further out, but then we can name tag him, and he should be part of the thing that keeps the aggro chain going inside this farm. We'll need one either side, just with a block diagonal space in between them, and we should do that on each of the four corners of the farm on this bottommost platform so that they still have direct line of sight to the player inside of here. Alright, all of these guys are in, and I can very emphatically say that using minecarts is a lot better than just nudging them onto the platform, because these guys, they like to go walkabout, they really do. Okay, let's hop back into here. Let's very much avoid getting entity crammed by those minecarts, and let's give this another try. Let's see if our friends on the corners will do their thing and keep everybody here mad at me. Of course, I've got to be pretty careful not to shoot one of the guys on the corners because I don't want them falling off the platform, but here we go. Hopefully, every pigman here should end up getting mad at me once new ones spawn in. Those two over there are definitely looking at me like they're mad at me, aren't they? So let's see if any of the new spawns end up getting mad. Yep, it looks like they are. It looks like they are getting mad at me. Great. So it took a second or two there. I was a little bit worried it hadn't worked properly, but yes, we are getting new pigmen spawning in and instantly getting mad at me. Let's see if these folks over here follow suit. Okay, great stuff. It looks like they are passing it around okay. Sometimes I do have to move around a little bit to make sure I've got line of sight with some pigmen that spawn on this bottom platform, but once the word gets around, it does seem like most of the pigmen are starting to get mad at me after a while. Alright, that looked like that was about 3 or 4 waves, and then after that point, it seems like all of the pigmen have just calmed down again. So this does seem like the kind of thing where we are going to have to occasionally snowball or shoot a couple of pigmen here and there just to make sure that each time the fresh waves spawn that they're interested in us. But it seems like for the most part, aside from those guys who don't seem to want to walk off the top row there, we should be getting our pigmen coming through. One thing's for sure, this farm is a whole lot faster than the zombie pigman farm we were working with previously, and while there are a couple around there that do seem like, yep, no, they are coming towards us now. A couple of them on those upper levels do occasionally seem to lose interest. I think perhaps because we don't have direct line of sight to them. There might be something we can do about that, actually, depending on what layers of materials we can get inside these vertical bits on the sides. We should get a pretty solid flow. Now, yep, you are seeing the occasional zombie wander in here as well, thanks to reinforcement zombies spawning from the pigmen dying. But that's not a big problem. It just means occasional extra rotten flesh is going to come through the system, really, which is, to be honest, not all that bad in the slightest. It looks like the fix for the baby zombie pigmen is working just fine. And yeah, this time I haven't had to refresh the waves at all. It does seem like they are just going to come straight for me every time. And the drops are piling up around me at this stage. I think we're probably going to have to install a storage system for this thing very, very quickly. So, to completely reset the farm, all we really need to do is hop down here, drop to the bottom of the world here, drop to the bottom of the nether ceiling, and that might be why the drops are piling up. It seems like maybe some of our minecart hoppers might have gotten loose again. Well, that took a little bit of time to figure out, and also involved me getting squished once in the entity cramming. So that's my 11th death in this world. I did occasionally get stuck in the minecarts by mistake, but by the amount of levels I'm about to gain just from standing here and occasionally shooting pigmen with my bow, it's going to be recovering the XP pretty quickly, and I managed to get all of the rest of my stuff back, so that's totally fine. The last things we have left to do with this farm are really to light it up to make sure reinforcement zombies and endermen don't spawn frequently here, and then to add some iron golems around the outside to take care of any magma cubes, because magma cubes will occasionally spawn up here, although I've seen them so rarely compared to the pigmen, and they do occasionally just jump off the platform by themselves, but iron golems are a surefire way, much like in a slime farm, to make sure they do that. I think this stack of minecarts down here also has one fewer minecart than it should. I think I maybe counted to 23 instead of 24, and that's why a couple of pigmen are getting stuck down there every now and again. But yep, looks like the farm has gone to sleep again, so let's wake them up one more time. I think I actually shot that guy all the way off the platform. Thank you, Pt.2 bow. But the beauty of this farm, of course, is that thanks to entity cramming, you end up with the pigmen mob cap refreshing pretty much constantly, which does mean we should end up getting a bunch more pigmen spawning in, and with any luck, the guys on the corners will see me again, and that will start the aggro chain once more. It does occasionally take them a second or two to pathfind over to you, so don't worry too much if you don't hear them getting aggro. Believe me, they will after a time, and you'll end up just having to shoot them very, very occasionally. Maybe even throw a snowball at one or two of them just to make sure that you don't end up shooting one all the way off the platform. And look at that, I'm already nearly back to 50 levels as a result of this. I've just put 4 chests down here for now, 4 double chests, but we will definitely need to expand the storage system down here into something that's going to accommodate all of the gold nuggets, and the gold swords. The swords, of course, can be put through a blast furnace array, which will mean they get smelted down into gold nuggets, just adding to the pile of gold that you'll eventually have once you've been at this farm for any great length of time. Yeah, and I think me just popping down there might have just been enough to... Oh, no, it hasn't switched off the farm. They are still getting mad at me. Very good, very good. So, yeah, after all that, it looks like... I'm pretty sure that zombie even had gold armor. It looks like we have a pretty functional zombie pigman farm here, and for that, I am, of course, very grateful to Ilmango for the farm design, and to all of the community effort that went into designing this in the first place. I think we're going to wrap things up there. I'm going to stand here, recover the rest of my levels. I will probably get a little bit more done on the storage system off camera, but it's nothing you guys haven't seen before at this point in the series, so be sure to go and check out the episodes we've done about automated storage if you're interested in how that's going to be set up. Oh, we have a zombie pigman in here. I better take care of him real fast. Looks like the babies can occasionally get through the sides there, but all that needs is a block here and there just to make sure that the little baby guys can't get through here. So I better do my outro quick before any other baby zombies get in here. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.